Part 1. The Quiet Power of Letting Go. There's something kind of wild about life that nobody really prepares us for. The harder we chase something, the further it runs. The tighter we grip, the more everything just slips right through our fingers. And then when we finally stop pushing, stop obsessing, stop trying to control every little thing, something unexpected starts to happen. Life doesn't fall apart. It falls into place. Not with noise, not with chaos, but with clarity, with alignment. That's what today's episode is about, that quiet, often misunderstood power of surrender. Now, before you roll your eyes, I want to make one thing clear. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean waving the white flag and walking away from your dreams. No, it means giving in. Giving in to the natural rhythm of things. Letting life flow instead of always trying to swim upstream. Because maybe, just maybe, what we've been working so hard to chase is actually trying to find us. If only we'd get out of our own way. Let's be real for a second. We've all hit that wall. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's in your relationship. Maybe it's in that dream you've been quietly chasing for years. You've planned. You've pushed. You've put in the hours. You've done everything right. And yet, nothing moves. The doors stay shut. The calls don't come. The dream doesn't bloom. And so what do? We double down. We tighten our grip. We tell ourselves that if we just try a little harder, if we control things just a bit more, something will finally click. But what if that very effort, the striving, the controlling, the micromanaging, is actually what's keeping everything stuck? It's weird, isn't it? The more we try to force life, the more it seems to resist us. And the more we resist that reality, the more frustrated we become. But then something changes. Maybe we get tired. Maybe we burn out. Maybe we just run out of moves. And in that moment, not because we want to, but because we have to, we let go. We surrender. And that's when life starts to move. Now, let me be clear again. Surrender doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you give up your dreams and sit around waiting for miracles. What it does mean is that you stop trying to control how and when everything has to happen. It's about releasing the timeline, not the dream. It's about showing up not with desperation, but with trust. Surrender is this quiet confidence that says, hey, I've done my part. Now I'll let the rest unfold. It's like a river finding its way to the sea. It doesn't bulldoze through the rocks. It flows around them, over them, guided by gravity, by nature, by something bigger. Here's an image that helped me understand surrender better. Imagine a clenched fist. It's strong, right? It looks like it's ready for anything. But it can't hold anything. It can't receive. It's too busy gripping. Now, picture that same hand open, relaxed, ready to catch whatever comes. That's what surrender looks like. It's not weakness. It's receptivity. It's not apathy. It's trust. You stop micromanaging the universe. You stop trying to force every outcome. And you let life meet you where you are. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's an artist who spent years trying to make it. She did all the right things, the marketing, the networking, the content calendars, the art shows. But here's the problem. Her art felt forced. It became a job, a checklist, a grind. And her life heavy, drained, burnt out. Eventually, she hit a wall and decided enough. She stopped chasing success and started painting again just for the joy of it. No deadlines, no strategy, just self-expression. And here's where it gets crazy. Not long after a gallery owner stumbled across her work, something she posted just for fun. They loved it, felt the honesty in it, offered her a solo show. That moment opened doors Sarah had been banging on for years. But it didn't come from pushing harder. It came from letting go. So maybe that's the lesson here. Desire isn't the problem. Wanting something deeply is a human. But when desire turns into control, when we start measuring our worth by how fast things happen, when we obsess over how reality should unfold, we fall out of alignment. Surrender, on the other hand, brings us back. It doesn't mean stop taking action. It means stop acting from fear. Stop acting from scarcity. Stop acting from panic. Take action from clarity, from inspiration, from stillness. It's subtle, but trust me, it changes everything. Think of it this way. Surrender doesn't mean doing nothing. It means intelligent participation. Like a gardener, you plant the seed, you water it, you give it sunlight. But you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You show up, but you don't strangle the outcome. So let me ask you, where in your life are you holding too tightly? What dream are you gripping so hard it can't breathe? What outcome are you forcing that might actually need space to unfold? Maybe it's time to ease your grip, not to give up, but to breathe, to allow, to flow. Because when you surrender, truly surrender, you don't lose control. You gain freedom. You create the space for life to surprise you. And more often than not, it does. Part 2, why forcing things rarely works and what to do instead. You ever notice how the harder we try to force something to happen, the more it seems to resist? Like you're putting in all this effort, planning, pushing, obsessing, and somehow it's like life just tightens up and says, nope, not yet. And it's not because you're not good enough. It's not because your dream isn't worth it. It's often because you're trying too hard. I know that sounds counterintuitive, especially in a world that celebrates hustle and grind. But think about it. Have you ever gripped something so tightly that you actually crushed it? It's like holding sand. The tighter your fist, the more it slips through your fingers. And that's the paradox. When we relax, not give up, but genuinely let go, things begin to shift. The doors we've been banging on for years start to creak open, not because we kicked them down, but because we finally stopped jamming the lock. Let's talk about Sarah. She's an artist. For years, she was on the hustle-trained social media posts every day, pitching her work, chasing gallery reps, networking like it was a full-time job. And she got tired, burnt out. Her art started to feel like labor, not love. Eventually, she just said, forget it. I'm going to paint for me. And you know what happened? A gallery owner walked into a coffee shop, saw her work hanging casually on the wall, asked who the artist was, and boom, solo show booked. The same kind of exposure she'd spent years trying to force came the moment she stopped forcing it. Now, here's the big question. Was it magic or was it alignment? Here's what I think happened. She shifted her energy. When you create or act from a place of freedom instead of fear, people feel that. Life feels that. When you let go of this has to work, you leave room for it to work. And look, I get it. We all want results. We all want certainty. But the truth is, control is an illusion. You can't make timing happen. You can't force people to react the way you want them to. You can't manipulate life into giving you exactly what you want when you want it. You can prepare, you can act, you can align, but you can't control. And that's where surrender comes in. Not the I give up kind, but the I trust the process kind. Because here's the truth most people won't tell you. Sometimes your plans aren't working. Not because they're bad, but because life has something better. And if you keep insisting that things must unfold exactly your way, you'll miss the upgrade. Let's flip it. Think of your dream like a seed. You plant it, you water it, you give it sunlight, but you don't sit there and dig it up every day to see if it's growing. Right. You trust the process. Same with your goals. There's a time to plant, a time to nurture, and yes, eventually a time to harvest. But the more you obsess, the more you delay the process. And what happens while you're trying to force it? Stress, burnout, self-doubt. You start tying your worth to outcomes. If something doesn't happen fast enough, you think you failed. If someone says no, you think you're not good enough. But that's not true. That's just fear talking. See, surrender is really about trust. Trusting that your dream picked you for a reason. Trusting that your timeline isn't the only one that exists. Trusting that what's meant for you won't pass you by unless you keep blocking it with pressure. This shift from pressure to presence will change your life. Because when you stop forcing, you start flowing. You start noticing ideas, people, and opportunities that were there the whole time, but your grip was too tight to see them. And look, surrender doesn't mean you stop working hard. It means you stop working from fear. It means your action comes from a place of clarity, not panic. You start acting like someone who knows it's coming, not someone who's terrified it never will. That difference, it's everything. Let me ask you something real. Where in your life are you holding too tightly? Is it a relationship you're trying to save even though you've outgrown it? Is it a job you're clinging to because you're afraid of uncertainty? Is it a dream you've suffocated by obsessing over every little detail? Whatever it is, can you loosen your grip just a little? Not give up, just give in. Give in to the rhythm, to the timing, to the fact that maybe life knows what it's doing, even when you don't. Because the reality is most of what we want is already trying to find us. We just have to stop getting in the way. So today, try this. Instead of asking, how do I make this happen? Ask, how can I create the space for this to happen? That might mean resting, releasing, letting go of your tight timelines and should-bes. And when you do, don't be surprised if things start moving again, not because you pushed harder, but because you stopped pushing at all. Part 3. The strength hidden in stillness. Let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough credit in today's fast-moving, always-doing world. Stillness. Yeah, that quiet space where you're not scrolling, not reacting, not fixing, not obsessing, just breathing. It sounds simple, right? But for most people, stillness is terrifying. Why? Because the moment things get quiet, all the stuff we've been running from, the emotions, the doubts, the fears, they show up. But here's what most of us miss. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is where the truth finally gets a chance to speak. We think being still means we're doing nothing, that we're wasting time, that we're falling behind. But stillness, it's the opposite of doing nothing. It's the space where everything important actually begins. Let's be honest, we live in a world that's addicted to motion. You wake up, check your phone, check your email, check the news, and before your feet even hit the floor, your brain is already running. Notifications, demands, expectations, deadlines. And what happens? You start reacting, not responding, reacting. Your nervous system gets hijacked before breakfast. No wonder you feel tired before the day even begins. But here's the game changer. When you build in moments of stillness, you start taking your power back, moment by moment. So let's get into what stillness really is and how to use it. Stillness is that moment when you pause before replying to the angry text. Stillness is the breath you take before deciding to quit or continue. Stillness is the walk you take without your phone, just letting your thoughts settle. And it's in those small, quiet pockets of pause that you start to notice something powerful. You're not your reactions. You're not your thoughts. You're not your anxiety. You're the awareness underneath all of it. And when you tap into that space, even for a few seconds, you're free. Free to choose your response. Free to shift direction. Free to return to yourself. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was a high-level executive, smart guy, super driven, but he was on edge all the time. He'd wake up and immediately check Slack, respond to emails in the bathroom, bring his laptop to dinner with his wife. You could just feel the tension buzzing off of him. And then one day, his body shut down. Full-on panic attack. That moment became his wake-up call. His doctor didn't prescribe him medication first. He prescribed him silence. 10 minutes a day, no phone, no music, no input. Just sit. Marcus hated it at first, said it felt like torture. But over time, that space became sacred. He started noticing his thoughts instead of believing them. He stopped reacting to every ping and started asking better questions. His decisions became cleaner, sharper, quieter. And you know what else changed? He stopped snapping at his wife. He started sleeping better. He started enjoying his work again, all because of stillness. Stillness is the secret weapon nobody's talking about. Why? Because it's not sexy. It's not fast. You can't post it on Instagram, but it works. Here's why. Stillness resets your nervous system. It helps your brain sort through what's actually important. And it gives your emotions room to breathe instead of boiling over. In other words, stillness doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. So, how do you practice stillness when your world feels chaotic? You don't need a meditation app or a Himalayan retreat. Start with 3 minutes. Yep, just 3. Here's a simple reset. Sit down. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat. That's it. No fixing, no planning, no solving, just breathing. You're not trying to empty your mind, you're letting it settle. And once it does, you start to see what's noise, what's fear, what's truth. Because when the dust settles, truth stands. Now, let's be clear. Stillness isn't about avoiding life. It's about facing it from a place of grounded strength instead of emotional chaos. It's what helps you respond with wisdom instead of panic. It's what helps you pause before the pattern. That moment you want to lash out in a fight. Stillness. That pause saves your relationship. That urge to quit your job after a bad day. Stillness. That breath might save your career. That compulsion to check your phone for the 100th time. Stillness. That space might give you back an hour you didn't know you were losing. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time your chest tightens, the next time you're about to say something you'll regret, Don't push through. Pause. One breath. That's all it takes to return to yourself. Because peace doesn't come from fixing everything around you. Peace comes from remembering you already have everything within you. And stillness, that's the doorway. Part 4. Boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges to inner peace. Let's talk about boundaries. Not the kind that cut people off for no reason, but the kind that protect your peace without closing your heart. Because somewhere along the way, a lot of us got the wrong idea. We started thinking that if we say no, we're being selfish. That if we ask for space, we're being dramatic. That if we don't always make ourselves available, we're going to disappoint people. But here's the truth nobody tells you enough. Healthy boundaries are not about keeping others out. They're about keeping yourself safe inside. They're not about punishment. They're about protection. They're not cold. They're clear. They're not harsh. They're honest. Because you can't be at peace if everyone else has access to you 24/7 and you don't even have access to yourself. So let's clear something up. A boundary is not a wall. A wall says, stay out. A boundary says, here's how we can connect well. Big difference. A wall is fear-based. It's reactionary. A boundary is love-based. It's intentional. Walls isolate. Boundaries liberate. They tell the world, this is where I end and where you begin. This is what I can hold and what I cannot carry for you. This is what feels safe and this is what doesn't. And that kind of clarity, it doesn't just help you, it helps everyone around you. Think about this. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open all night, right? Not because you hate your neighbors, but because you value your home. So why do we leave our emotional doors wide open? Why do we let guilt, people-pleasing, and fear of conflict keep us in relationships that drain us? Why do we let people talk to us in ways we'd never allow others to? It's time to stop confusing tolerance with peace. Because if someone constantly crosses your boundaries, that's not love. That's manipulation. That's avoidance. That's imbalance. And if you don't set the boundary, here's what happens. You get resentful. You get drained. You lose yourself trying to maintain the connection. But you can't connect if you're disappearing. Let me give you an example. Meet Jason. He's the nice guy. Never says no. Always shows up even when he's exhausted. Everyone loves him, but he's quietly breaking inside. Eventually, Jason hits his limit. Anxiety, burnout, even health issues. Why? Because he never built boundaries. He thought being available to everyone all the time made him a good person. But what it really did was make him unavailable to himself. So one day, Jason starts small. He begins saying, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'm not free this weekend. I'm taking time for myself. And what happened? Sure, a few people pulled away, but the people who truly cared, they respected him more. They appreciated his honesty. And most importantly, he started feeling human again. That's the gift of boundaries. They teach people how to treat you, and they teach you how to respect your own needs. Let's break it down even further. 3 types of boundaries you need for inner peace. 1. Time boundaries. These protect your energy. You don't have to answer that message right now. You don't need to attend every event. You are allowed to rest even when others want your attention. Example, I'm not available after 8 p.m. I use that time to recharge. That's not rude. That's responsible. 2. Emotional boundaries. These protect your heart. Just because someone is upset doesn't mean it's your job to fix them. You're not a therapist for every friend. You're not a dumping ground for other people's unprocessed emotions. Example, I care about you, but I can't hold space for this conversation right now. You're not abandoning them. You're honoring your capacity. 3. Communication boundaries. These protect your sanity. You don't have to engage in arguments that go nowhere. You don't have to justify your feelings 50 times. You don't have to let someone speak to you disrespectfully, even if they're family. Example, I'm happy to talk when we can both speak respectfully. That's not defensive. That's dignity. But here's the thing, and it's important. A boundary is only as strong as your willingness to enforce it. It's not enough to say what you need. You have to follow through. If someone keeps crossing the line after you've clearly drawn it, that's not a communication issue. That's a compatibility issue. Because people who truly care about you don't make you beg for basic respect. So how do you start setting boundaries, especially if you've never done it before? Here's a simple framework. Get clear with yourself first. You can't enforce a boundary you don't understand. Ask, what drains me most? Where do I feel resentment? Who do I dread hearing from? Start small and be kind but firm. Boundaries aren't ultimatums, they're information. You're saying, hey, this is what I need in order to feel safe and stay connected. Expect resistance and hold the line. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries might not like the new you. That's okay. Let them adjust or exit. Because you don't owe anyone unlimited access to you. Final reminder for today. Boundaries are an act of self-love. They're how you tell your nervous system, I've got your back. I won't let them drain you again. We're safe now. And when you live that way, clear, grounded, unapologetic, you don't just protect your peace. You become it. Part 5. Stop taking it personally. It's not about you. Let's talk about one of the biggest energy leaks in life, something that robs us of peace, confidence, and even sleep. Taking things personally. Someone ignores your text. Someone gives you a weird look. Someone criticizes your work or worse, says nothing at all. And your brain, it goes into full detective mode. Did I do something wrong? Are they mad at me? Maybe I'm just not good enough. And just like that, you've taken something that probably had nothing to do with you and turned it into a personal attack. We've all done it. But here's what you need to know. Most of the time, it's not about you. Seriously. People are walking around in their own world filled with their own wounds, triggers, insecurities, and bad days. And their reactions, they're often more about that than about you. Let me give you an example. Imagine this. You're at a coffee shop. You smile at the barista. They barely look up. No smile back. Cold tone. Your mind starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Do they hate me? Was my tone weird? But maybe, just maybe, they're exhausted. Or they just got dumped. Or their rent's late. Or they're simply having a moment. In truth, 90% of people's behavior has nothing to do with us. And yet, we take it personally, like we're the center of their universe. That habit, it steals peace. It builds resentment. It feeds insecurity. But the good news is, it's a habit, not a life sentence. And like all habits, it can be unlearned. So how do you stop taking things so personally? Here's what works. 1. Remember, everyone has a backstory. Every person you meet is carrying something you can't see. Childhood trauma, financial stress, grief, anxiety, 1,000 invisible wounds. What feels like an attack might just be a projection. What feels like rejection might just be their own fear. When someone snaps ghosts or withdraws, pause and ask, is this really about me, or could this be about them? You'll be surprised how often that single question saves you from spiraling. 2. Detach from external validation. Here's the hard truth. If your peace depends on how people treat you, you'll always be on edge. Because people are unpredictable. One day they love you, the next day they're distant. So what's the solution? Stop outsourcing your worth. Whether someone likes you, ignores you, compliments you, or criticizes you, your worth doesn't rise or fall. It's not on the line. It's stable. The more you believe that, the less you'll flinch when someone acts out. 3. Respond, don't react. When something feels personal, your nervous system lights up. Your chest tightens. Your breath shortens. You want to fire back, defend, explain, prove. But what if you didn't? What if you just paused, gave it space, let the emotion rise and then fall before doing anything? That pause, that's power. You don't have to react to everything that feels offensive. Not every jab deserves your energy. Not every silence needs a story. Sometimes the most powerful move is not reacting at all. 4. Check the mirror, not the magnifying glass. If you do feel triggered, ask, why did this bother me so much? What wound did it hit? Am I over-identifying with someone else's opinion? Sometimes we take things personally because it hits a sore spot, not because it was meant to. And that's okay. But that's also your cue to heal it, not hand your peace over to it. Because once you start owning your triggers, they stop owning you. 5. Don't let other people's bad behavior turn into your self-story. This one's huge. Sometimes someone treats you poorly, and your mind makes it about you. Maybe I am too much. Maybe I don't deserve better. Maybe I'm hard to love. No, stop. Someone else's inability to value you is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their own capacity. You don't have to shrink just because someone else can't hold your light. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It doesn't mean you never speak up. Boundaries are still important. Self-respect still matters. But you can enforce a boundary without internalizing someone else's behavior. You can say, I don't accept that tone, without also saying, I must have deserved it. See the difference? Here's your mindset shift. Not everything that feels personal is personal, and not everything that's personal needs your peace. Sometimes the best response is no response. Sometimes your power is in walking away, not engaging. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to stop trying to read minds, decode silences, and win everyone's approval. You don't need everyone to get you. You just need to stay rooted in you. Try this the next time you feel triggered. Pause. Breathe. Ask, what else could this mean? Instead of building stories, build space. Space to choose your meaning, not just absorb theirs. And that space, that's where your peace lives. Part 6. Quieting the inner noise that keeps you stuck. Let's be honest, sometimes the loudest thing in your life isn't the world around you. It's the voice inside your head. You know the one I mean. That voice that second-guesses your every move, that overanalyzes every text, every tone, every pause. That says things like, you're not good enough. They're going to leave. Why even try? You'll mess it up anyway. Everyone else has it figured out except you. Yeah, that voice. We all have it. It's normal. But when that voice runs unchecked, it runs your life. It keeps you small. It keeps you stuck. And it steals your peace. But here's the good news. That voice is not you. It's just a narrator you've been listening to for too long, and it's time to change the channel. Let's break this down. Your inner voice, the thoughts you hear on repeat, they're not random. They come from somewhere. Childhood, past relationships, teachers, coaches, culture, social media, trauma, little moments that stuck, big wounds that never healed, repeated patterns that became belief systems. And over time, that voice became familiar. And what's familiar feels true, even when it's not. So when you think I always mess things up, it's not truth. It's programming. And guess what? Programming can be rewritten. Let me introduce a concept. Your mind is like a radio station. There are hundreds of channels playing at once, but you're only tuned into one. So if you're tuned into the insecure channel, you'll hear, "They're probably annoyed with you. Don't speak up, you'll sound dumb. Stay quiet, blend in. Play small, don't rock the boat." But just like a real radio, you can change the station. It takes practice, awareness, repetition, but it's possible. Let me give you a real example. Meet Lena. She's a talented writer, creative, thoughtful, insightful. But she never shared her work. Why? Because her inner voice was stuck on the what-if station. What if they laugh at me? What if it's not good enough? What if I get rejected? That loop ran her life for years, until one day her therapist asked her a powerful question. What if the voice in your head isn't a critic, but a scared version of you just trying to protect you? That hit different, because suddenly Lena saw her inner critic not as a villain, but as an old wound, a scared child, a past version of herself who didn't feel safe. From that point on, she didn't fight the voice, she soothed it, and little by little that voice softened. It still showed up, but now she could say, "I see you, but I don't need you to drive today." Here's a simple method to start rewiring your inner voice. Step 1, catch the thought. Awareness is everything. Most of the time, these thoughts run on autopilot. You don't even notice them. You just feel the impact. So next time you feel anxious or low, pause and ask, "What thought just played in my head?" Name it. It might be subtle. "They're probably annoyed with me. This won't work out. I always mess things up." Step 2, question the thought. Don't just accept it, challenge it. Ask, is this actually true? Where did I learn this? Would I say this to a friend? You'll be shocked how often the answer is no. Oh, it's not true. I'm just scared, and that's okay. Fear doesn't disqualify you, but it shouldn't direct you. Step 3, replace the thought. Now, here's the key. Don't just cancel the negative, replace it. New thought, new channel. Something like, "This is new and I'm learning. I don't need to be perfect to be valuable. It's okay if someone doesn't get me, I get me." At first it might feel cheesy, fake, awkward, but repetition creates belief, and belief creates behavior. Step 4, speak it out loud. You want to know the fastest way to rewrite a belief? Say it out loud. Why? Because your brain hears your voice differently than your thoughts. It believes what you say more than what you think. So when you say, "I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to rest. I'm proud of who I'm becoming," Your nervous system hears that. It starts to rewire. It starts to soften. Final truth. Your thoughts are not facts, and your inner critic is not your truth teller. It's your oldest fear wearing a disguise. But now, you're older. You're wiser. You get to choose who you let narrate your life. Don't let a scared version of you hold the mic forever. Take it back. Speak from power. Speak from kindness. Speak from now. Because when the inner noise gets quiet, your real voice emerges. And that voice, it's wise, it's grounded, it's loving, it's you. Part 7. Detachment is not cold. It's clarity. If you've made it this far, you've already started reclaiming your peace. But there's one final lesson most people struggle with, and it's this: learning to care without losing yourself. Sounds impossible, right? You think, if I care, I have to worry. If I love them, I have to fix it. If I'm a good person, I can't walk away. But that mindset, that's not compassion, that's codependency. And it will drain you every single time. So let's talk about a concept that's often misunderstood: emotional detachment. Not apathy, not indifference, not giving up on people. Detachment means I can hold space for your experience without making it my job to carry it. It's the ability to love without attachment, to give without expectation, to support without sacrificing your own well-being. Let me tell you a quick story. There's a woman named Claire. Her younger brother Jake struggled with addiction. She spent years trying to save him, bailing him out, covering his debts, canceling her own plans to take care of him. It was destroying her. Until one day, her therapist asked, "Are you helping or are you rescuing out of guilt?" That moment cracked her wide open. She realized that love had become a leash, one tied to obligation and fear. And so she made a shift. She started setting boundaries, stopped enabling, let Jake face his own consequences while still loving him. And you know what happened? He finally got clean, not because she saved him, but because she stepped back and let him save himself. That's detachment. Here's what emotional detachment looks like in practice. You stop chasing closure from people who don't value clarity. You let people be wrong about you without correcting them. You don't internalize someone else's dysfunction. You stay rooted in your own peace, even when others are chaotic. Because here's the truth: you are not responsible for other people's growth, reactions, or happiness. You can offer love, you can hold space, but you cannot force healing on anyone. Their journey is theirs, and yours is to stay aligned with your center. Let's break down 3 mindsets that will help you practice healthy detachment. 1. Their emotions are not my emergency. You're not cold for not jumping into panic mode when someone else is spiraling. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stay calm. Why? Because when you stay grounded, you give others something to anchor to. You don't have to match someone else's storm to prove you care. 2. I can witness their pain without fixing it. You can sit with someone in sadness without rushing to change the subject. You can listen to their anger without trying to solve it. Because often people don't want solutions, they want presence. They want to be seen, not saved. So show up, but don't lose yourself in the process. 3. I release the need to control how this ends. You can do everything right and still not get the outcome you hoped for. That's not failure, that's life. Detachment means releasing your grip on the ending and showing up with integrity anyway. Your job isn't to guarantee a result. Your job is to be truthful, present, and whole in how you show up. But let's be real, detachment isn't easy, especially if you were raised to believe love means self-sacrifice, that being good means always being available, that being kind means tolerating everything. But guess what? You can be kind and still say no. You can be loving and still choose distance. You can care deeply and still protect your energy. In fact, the deeper your compassion, the more important detachment becomes. Because you can't pour from a cup that's always being drained. Here's a simple practice for healthy detachment. The pause plus protect method. Pause before reacting. When someone brings you drama, emotion, or pressure, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Protect your space. That might mean not responding right away, saying, I'll think about it, choosing silence over arguing, walking away when necessary. This isn't about avoidance. It's about choosing presence over panic. Final thought. Detachment is an act of emotional maturity. It says, I love you and I love me too. I'll walk with you, but I won't walk for you. I'll listen, but I won't lose myself to understand you. Because peace doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means choosing relationships where love isn't codependent, where support doesn't mean self-destruction, where you can care deeply and still choose yourself. Every single time. Part 8. Make peace your lifestyle, not just a temporary escape. So, here we are. We've talked about letting go of control. We've explored the power of stillness. We've unpacked boundaries, silenced the inner critic, stopped taking things personally, and even learned how to detach with love. But all of that leads to one final powerful truth. Inner peace is not a place you visit. It's a place you live from. It's not something you stumble into on a perfect Sunday morning with a candle and a cup of tea. It's a daily decision. Every moment, every conversation, every crossroad. You're either choosing peace or you're abandoning it. And what makes the difference? Your habits, your emotional hygiene, the small, seemingly unimportant choices that either bring you closer to yourself or pull you back into old patterns. Let's break this down practically. Here are 6 daily habits that help you make inner peace a lifestyle, not just a mood. 1. Morning stillness. Before the world touches you, before you check your phone, before you open the floodgates of notifications, before the world tells you who to be, give yourself 5 minutes of stillness. No scrolling, no reacting. Just sit, breathe, listen inward. Ask yourself, what do I need today? How do I want to feel? What would peace look like for me in the next 12 hours? Set the tone, or the world will set it for you. 2. Conscious input guard your mental diet. If you constantly consume fear, comparison, and chaos, don't be surprised when your mind feels the same. Start filtering your inputs the same way you filter your food. Ask yourself, does this uplift me? Is this helpful or just noise? Do I feel lighter or heavier after consuming this? Peace isn't just what you avoid, it's what you allow. Choose content that calms your nervous system. Follow voices that speak life, not fear. Curate your mental space the way you'd protect your home. 3. Boundaried action. Not every fire needs your water. You don't need to respond to every email right away. You don't need to attend every invite. You don't need to fix every problem that lands in your lap. When in doubt, pause. Ask, is this aligned with the life I'm trying to build? If not, it's a no, or at least a not right now. Protecting your peace often means disappointing others. But if it's between disappointing others or abandoning yourself, you already know the answer. 4. Micro check-ins. Don't wait until you're falling apart. You don't need a breakdown to justify rest. You don't need a crisis to prioritize self-care. You don't need to hit burnout to earn a break. Peace is maintained in maintenance. So take 60 seconds throughout the day to check in. Where's my tension right now? What's stealing my focus? Am I breathing shallow or deep? Little resets equal fewer meltdowns. That's emotional intelligence in action. 5. Emotional journaling. Name it so it doesn't own you. We process what we name. Journaling isn't about being poetic. It's about being honest. Try this prompt every evening. What am I holding that I no longer want to carry into tomorrow? Write it, feel it, let it go. Peace doesn't mean avoiding hard emotions. It means facing them with presence. And journaling. It's one of the safest ways to do that without judgment or pressure. 6. Choose response over reaction every time. This is the golden rule of a peaceful life. Just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to act on it. Pause before the reply. Pause before the spiral. Pause before the self-sabotage. Create space between stimulus and response. That's where peace lives. You'll find that not everything requires your energy. Not every comment needs a comeback. Not every trigger needs a story. Sometimes the most powerful move is stillness. Now, let's get honest again. Peace doesn't mean life is perfect. You'll still have bad days. People will still disappoint you. You'll still mess up, lose your center, get reactive, and forget everything you've learned. That's not failure. It's being human. But the difference now, you know your way back. You've built the map. You've walked the path. You've learned how to come home to yourself. And that's everything. So if you're ever feeling lost again, if the chaos creeps back in, if you wake up one day and feel overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected, remember this. You've let go before you can do it again. You've been still before you can find it again. You've drawn boundaries before you can reinforce them again. You've quieted your mind before you can hush it again. You've detached with grace before you can do it again. And peace, it's not gone. It's not something outside you. It's within you right now, waiting to be chosen again. Final mantra. I am not here to survive life in chaos. I am here to live life in alignment. I protect my peace not because I'm selfish, but because I am sacred. Say it, write it, repeat it, until it's not just a quote, it's who you are. And that's it, my friend. This isn't the end, this is your beginning. A new way of being, a new way of relating, a new way of living not in fear, but in freedom. You don't have to chase peace, just become it. Every moment, every breath, every choice. Peace is not a place, it's your power.